Hello, welcome back to If You Know, You Know. And today we're talking about the coronavirus and what's the current situation with that.
Highly requested, by the way, by the citizens of Jomalia. I asked them, I was like, hey, we're going to be doing some
CC, coronavirus.
You don't need to say
Corona
if you know.
Corona Corner. Yep. And they were like, yeah, just talk about this because there's so much going on right now. There's a lot of different conspiracies based off just the coronavirus.
Did you guys hear about that they discovered the coronavirus? They done tests and it's the only way it's capable of being made is if it's man-made. That's number one. And the second.
That's what they said about AIDS.
Yeah, and they also said that the receptor it binds to, it's 3 times the amount in Asian people than in any other race. So that's why some people think it's
what
a
if it's just a
manufactured
way
bioweapon.
to like curb overpopulation?
That's another one too. So,
and that's part of what I was talking about last week, Bart, where we did a JK News about corona real quick, and I talked about how it's 3 times more likely to be communicated between people. So you're saying it's Asians?
Asians are the most susceptible to it?
Yes, because whatever protein or whatever receptor it binds to, Asians have 3 times the amount than the other.
3 times versus the flu, just to be clear it up. Yeah. Okay.
And that's funny too, because my barber just
caught it.
No. A few days ago, he's like, don't worry about it, man. It don't affect black people. And I was like, what? I should look that up.
It does.
I don't know about that.
And I looked up. I haven't found any cases of black people who have it. I mean, there is some African nations that are.
Just give it some time.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like, but then that's the thing too. So my girlfriend, she works at Costco, and she says everybody's in there like buying everything up, right? And then I was like looking it up, and I was just like, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a thing, at least in the States, like in terms of how many people it's affecting. And I also don't want to feel stupid and be like, oh, I don't want to be like, don't worry about it, guys. It's just like.
Well, the people reading the
6
news,
cases?
A lot of people who read the news all day really do think that we're all in LA like wearing masks and being super fucked right now. They really think.
Right, and it's not like that. I just drove over today. No one's over here.
I was in the airport. I just traveled. I went to Playlist Live in Orlando and came back to LA and
this happens like every 7 years. We have like this new hype about.
We survived SARS. We survived bird flu, swine flu.
But more people have gotten corona than those 2 diseases put together so far. But as far as the U.S. goes, I mean, I feel worse for Iran, for example, or obviously China. Like, we have had it so small compared to those guys that.
Yeah, and with our population, it's really, really good.
We're taking a pretty active kind of like measures against trying to like make sure that it doesn't hit us as hard as like some of those other countries.
Italy got fucked.
They
have like 800 cases right now.
Yeah, my friend actually got flown out.
A lot of our airlines are also just stopping travel to the destinations that have.
They did a month ago.
There's a big outdoor show in Germany that they had so many people. Like, there's a lot of Asian vendors going to that too, but those Asian vendors pulled out and they were just like, yeah, we're just gonna move the whole thing to like September, like instead of right now. Yeah.
Wait for it to all blow over.
Yeah, and then there's concerts and stuff. Like, I think that it's cool that people are kind of postponing a lot of these big public gatherings because, you know, especially
Japan's not. They're like, the Olympics is going.
I heard rumbles about like, oh, should we, you know, potentially postpone?
I just read an article this morning that said that they were like, nope, we're doing it.
But aren't they the 5th country, or they're pretty high up there with the cases of.
They are high up. That's
but
apparently they fucked up with the cruise ship though.
Huh?
Apparently they fucked up with the cruise ship though, because they wouldn't let the cruise ship dock. And like everyone on the cruise ship,
the Japanese government couldn't do
because it was a Princess cruise ship, right?
It was turned away.
Yeah, it was turned away or whatnot, and then
wait, from where to where? Like from where to where?
It was Japan. They turned it away. Wow.
But so the whole ship got sick. It was like 700 people or something.
Because they just kept them in there, and then cabin fever.
Because they're trying to quarantine them. Like, you don't want to let anybody off because it takes a while for the symptoms to present. So you could have somebody that's infected. It'll take like
2 days at the quickest for you to see it.
I thought it takes it's an incubation period of like 7 days or something. Yeah.
Well, the incubation can be longer, but the symptoms of when it hits.
Be transmitting it as you're incubating.
Didn't Greece also shut their border down?
I don't know about Greece.
I don't know, but north of Italy, so Austria's not taking in any more trains from Italy. Michael actually the other day, his family member.
Yeah, he was telling me about that. Yeah,
he got sick,
stuck on the cruise ship.
Got stuck on the cruise ship.
Okay.
On the Corona cruise ship.
And 2 of them have Corona, but they don't have crazy symptoms. Like, it's just a little bit of sickness.
Yeah.
So we're talking about that one though, the ship that has Corona.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I think there were multiple ones, right?
Yeah.
There's high possibility there are multiple.
But still, like, as far as compared to the whole cruise line out there, like, I'm talking about those are the ones that have Corona on it.
But the scary thing about Corona though is there's people that are having relapse.
Like
there's a lady. They'll recover. They'll go out and then they'll get it again, and they're saying that by the 3rd time it's death, and that's the scary thing because now there hasn't been enough stages yet where people are getting it 2 times, 3 times, and then they're saying that the 3rd time you get it, you're dead.
That's the crazy part because viral infections you're not supposed to get twice. Even to the point where, when you get the flu vaccination, what they're giving you is a mild form of it, right?
Yeah.
So the minute your body develops antibodies to that flu, the second time it comes around, your body is already immune to it because it already has an antibody. So it's crazy that for someone to get the coronavirus, they beat it, which means they have developed new antibodies for it, and now another version, and it comes.
But there are no actual cures to viral infections, also, right? Like.
So it's mutating fast.
It's mutated.
That's what I mean.
That's
Like
what viral
even the
infections
flu, we get a different flu shot every year. It's not the same flu shot because there's so many strains and stuff. So I mean, like.
But why is it seasonal? That's the weird thing, right?
The flu season.
Yeah, why is it a new flu every year? Like, where is it incubating during the summer? No one's getting.
I think it has to do with cold weather, though. Something about cold weather that allows people to.
The
virus
burns it or whatever.
Well, the virus is always around. It's just when it's cold, your immune system is on It's like on hyperdrive, so it's easier for you to get cold. To catch a flu.
Yeah.
Oh. So it's that more people have weaker immune systems during the winter,
Right.
so then they're susceptible to viruses. And
But the viruses are around all the time.
It's just like if you have it's HIV or AIDS. Which one's the one that comes first? Is it
HIV. AIDS is when you're dead.
HIV, you're susceptible to all the things that you're normally not susceptible to, that are still around, but because we have normal immune systems, we fight it off. But because your immune system is so compromised at that point, that's why you get all these things.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, man, because my uncle had that, so thanks a lot.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Oh yeah, so going back to the conspiracies that surround it, okay, one of them is it's either China that manufactured it and they were going to use it as a biological warfare or whatever, but then it leaked out.
It went off on
the
their own
Wuhan
people.
clan. Yeah. Another one is it's America.
That's an antithesis to what you said. If China developed it and it's only targeting Asians, so it's like
That's the one that doesn't make sense to me because I can't really find the motive in that. The one where it's like
why it's targeting Asians.
why China would make it for their own people.
So the idea is that it was to attack Hong Kong.
Oh, they're gonna use it to attack Hong Kong.
Have you noticed the protests have dispersed since then? That's one of the conspiracies behind it.
Because
I'm not really
remember with
forcing it on-
Tiananmen Square, they're saying that if everyone got sick at Tiananmen Square, then they would have just went home. So they're saying,
Or if they were afraid of getting sick at the Tiananmen Square.
Wow.
what I heard from Hong Kong locals is that the situation in China was getting worse. So there were protests happening in Hong Kong, but what was happening internally in China, there was more shit that was going down that the Western media wasn't
It
covering.
was affecting China. Actually, the Hong Kong protests were affecting Chinese minds and making them more sympathetic. Exactly.
And so the best thing to do is just knock out all those protests.
That's part of the conspiracy, right? Is so if people gather in groups, they're more likely to get sick and maybe die.
Yeah.
So that's that's what that theory is.
I have my own hypothesis as to what's going on. So I'm thinking this, if America did send in this, it's because we're in a trade war currently and
with China.
Yeah.
I don't think America sent it though. I think
If they did though,
But he's playing
I can
that
see
idea.
why. I can see why motive-wise, because almost overnight, China created a network of highways, and the way that we choke people in other nations, basically, is we fuck up their trade routes and we control them that way. So we own the seas from Southeast Asia all the way out, right? They don't really have a way to trade with the rest of us and the other world if we control that space. And then if we choke them out with trade, then we can hurt their economy. But if they basically created the new Silk Road behind our backs, really fucking
South
fast.
China Sea.
Yeah, well, it goes to it's like a network that goes into Europe and everything. And
So
Russia
is it
and all
overland
that.
or is it in?
It's overland.
It's overland.
So,
okay.
well, they technically can't do the sea route because of us.
Well, no, they've been doing it though. South China Sea, China has been making.
Oh, you're talking about the new islands that they're creating? Okay, that's another thing
Oh,
too.
right, to push over.
They've been making major moves that we're pissed about.
When I saw that, I go, okay, so this is our response to hurting them in another way.
So that's very plausible. I just don't think that we did it because I think that we economically benefit from China.
Yeah, it would be bad for business if we did it.
That's all. I'm cynical as fuck like you. I don't think that we care about human lives or whatever the fuck. I think it's about the money.
Because at the end of the day, look at what it's doing to our stocks.
It crushed them, and then we just had a huge day yesterday, but then who the fuck knows? There's so much uncertainty right now.
Because it's like, why would we want to do that? Because it's going to hurt the factories. All of my friends that are doing business with China, they're pissed because they're like, fuck, my watches won't come in, my orders won't come in because the factories are closed down.
And now it's affecting the money.
So why wreck our own economy?
Yeah.
So that's part of it, and then also I think that there's something to be said about what China's interests are. Why would China do that to Hong Kong, knowing that it could get outspread into their own population?
I think it's plausible that they might be developing bioweapons, though. I think it's totally plausible that they would be doing that because it feels like, I don't know about you guys, but it feels like kind of we're in this like weird stalemate Cold War, like proxy war kind of thing. So I think that, you know, just like in the Cold War, we're experimenting and testing out all these weird new weapons and stuff. Like, I can see them making it just being like, oh, like, we don't want to use it yet, but like, you know, why not have it?
Well, we're definitely developing bioweapons. All countries are, like Antoine said.
So you think it could be a leak?
It could be.
I think it's a leak. I just think that it's just one of those things that's like, I mean, like, just look at nuclear power and stuff like that. Like, people fuck up because human error and stuff, and then you have like big, you know, massive, like, you know, catastrophes, and this could just be one of those like, whoops, oh man.
I mean, that's like the plot for every like zombie apocalypse movie. Is that it's just a fuck up?
Yeah, it's human error, which is totally plausible for me, and it's totally plausible that like China was developing this, and they were just like, oh, just kidding, we're not doing that at all.
Right.
That would explain why they silenced it for so long.
I mean, they're gonna silence it either way because it looks bad that everyone's getting sick in their country.
It could have just mutated to fit Asian genes. Like it might have not been intended.
It could have been unintentional.
It also, you know, I think that there's something to be said about. So there was a professor who was arrested who's a Harvard professor, and he was arrested for working with China. And one of the
the spy.
Yes, and one of the things that he does, it has to do with bio warfare.
Whoa.
So yeah, there's a lot to be said about what's going on right now and what we have informationally compared to what the probably real story is. I think we're only just getting to know it.
There's a lot though, and then there's recently there was like a politician that was tweeting out like conspiracies based on the coronavirus, and there's just so much shit that's surrounding this that I feel like no one would really know until years later.
Exactly. Yeah, right. So we're just getting the fucking tip of the iceberg here.
Just like when the recession went down, no one really knew what happened until later. You go, oh yeah, the mortgages. Yeah.